We lost 13 great people. What a horrible day it was.
So Donald Trump went to Arlington National Cemetery and did a major fuck up. So apparently Donald Trump was invited with a family of a military service person who was buried there and who essentially died while serving the country. Now, for those of you who don't know, my biological mother is buried at a cemetery, not Arlington, but she's buried at one in New York. And I personally had no idea that cemeteries, especially the national cemeteries or the military cemeteries, have a specific set of rules. Now, some of them are common sense and some of them are like, wow, I just didn't know that. So I pulled them up right here. These are the rules for Arlington National Cemetery. And I think these apply to really any cemetery. Now, of course, we all know, regardless of what party we are, that cemeteries are like a somber place. They're a place that you go to remember your loved ones, your relatives, people that you cared about, or even just to, for some people, clear your head. It's really interesting. I was looking up a couple of things, and back in the early 1900s, families used to have picnics at cemeteries. Really wild. There's pictures out there. Yeah, here are the rules. Rule number 1, be fucking quiet and use headphones. It doesn't say the F word there, but it says speak quietly and use headphones if you are listening to something so that your experience does not distract or disturb others. Number 2, enjoy the space appropriately. We encourage you to explore the cemetery. You may walk on the grass to find a grave and attend a public ceremony. However, activities such as running, climbing, bicycling, playing sports, and picnicking are not allowed. Now, the picnicking there is because back in the day, people would want to have picnics at the cemetery. But I think the first rule is pretty self-explanatory. You don't want people to come in there and be all loud and act all rambunctious and things like that. And again, regardless of your party, that's not something that you want at the end of the day. Please leave your pets at home. Only approved service animals and military working dogs are permitted. That's just common sense. You bring a regular, normal dog, the first thing they're going to do is shit on somebody's grave. Respect the property. Do not damage or sit on monuments, gravestones, plants, or other property. They are historic features of this sacred site, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. I had no idea that the graves that are there, the graves that are listed there, are listed on the National Registry of Historic Places, and the cemetery itself is on the national list for historic places as well. Show respect to the flag. When a flag is used in a ceremony or service, or when a bugler sounds taps. Oof, imagine saying, wow, okay. Civilians should place their right hand over their heart. Military service members and veterans may salute. Drink water. Food and alcoholic beverages are not allowed. The cemetery grounds are vast, and the weather is often hot. During the summer, stay hydrated. You may bring bottled water or purchase it at the Welcome Center or through a mobile app. But they don't want you drinking soda or having food there as well. And that's rightfully so. These are just common sense rules. Now, the big one here was visiting with children, right? Consult our education program. I hear you. As somebody with a 3-year-old, I get where they're coming from. And then, of course, there's another one, respect funeral services. By staying at a distance, basically keep your distance from ongoing funeral services. If you encounter a funeral procession, please step aside and wait for the procession to pass. If your exploration of the cemetery brings you near a funeral service, please move along to an area that is not in sight of active mourning. And these are really all just common sense rules. These are not, they're not asking for anything that a normal person would not ask for at a cemetery.
Cemetery. Former President Donald Trump visited the cemetery following a leaf-laying ceremony to honor those who lost their lives that day. He did so at the invitation of the families. A video of the visit posted by the Trump campaign on TikTok showed the former president walking through Arlington and visiting grave sites. It's a violation of federal law to use cemetery footage for campaign purposes. Prior to Trump's visit to Section 60, that's an area in the cemetery largely reserved for the graves of those who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Campaign officials were made aware of federal laws which prohibit political campaign or election-related activities. They were asked not to take photos or videos for that purpose. The grounds are considered sacred and hallowed. An Army spokesperson said an employee who attempted to ensure adherence to these rules was, quote, abruptly pushed aside. Have varied. Former President Trump has insisted there was no violation of law. Communications director for the Trump campaign, Stephen Chung, posted on X that the campaign was granted access to have a photographer there. Chung also disputed claims of a physical altercation and has said there's video to back this up, yet none has been released thus far. Former President Trump published a statement on Truth Social from 5 family members, thanking him for making the visit and saying, "We are deeply grateful to the president for taking the time to honor our children and for standing alongside us in our grief, offering his unwavering support during such a difficult time."